Stickman just got knocked flat on his back by his own shadow, and somehow this happens to him every single day. This is Stickman. Today started like any other, until he stepped outside. The sun cast his shadow long across the pavement as usual, but this time the shadow moved a split second before he did. Stickman froze, staring down at it with growing suspicion. He waved his hand slowly, testing the shadow's reaction. The shadow waved back, but with a mocking, exaggerated flair. Stickman narrowed his eyes. "Are you mocking me?" The shadow simply shrugged, unbothered by the accusation. Stickman decided he wasn't going to let this slide. He threw a slow practice punch, just to see what would happen. The shadow threw the exact same punch back, perfectly in sync. Stickman nodded slowly. "Okay, fine. Let's do this properly then." He got into a full boxing stance, ready for a real fight. Stickman threw his first real punch, full force. The shadow, of course, threw the exact same punch right back at him. Since the shadow was on the ground and Stickman was standing, physics did the rest. He accidentally punched himself in the shin and hopped back in pain. Round 1, Shadow 1, Stickman still 0. Stickman rubbed his shin, glaring down at the ground. He tried a sneaky sideways kick, hoping to catch it off guard. The shadow's kick landed a split second faster, sweeping his other leg. Stickman toppled backward, landing flat on the pavement. Round 2, Shadow 2, Stickman still 0. A neighbor walked by, watching the strange scene unfold. She asked, "Are you fighting your own shadow right now?" Stickman, still on the ground, replied, "It started it." The neighbor shook her head slowly and continued on her way. Stickman sat up, determined to figure out a smarter approach. He thought, maybe I need to move somewhere the sun can't reach. He spotted a shaded spot under a large tree nearby. He walked confidently toward it, ready to escape the fight entirely. Under the tree's shade, his shadow completely disappeared. He raised his arms in victory. "Ha! Gone! I win!" He did a little victory dance, thoroughly pleased with himself. But a light breeze rustled the leaves above him. The shifting leaves let a beam of sunlight slip through. His shadow flickered back to life, right in the middle of his dance. Caught completely off guard, Stickman tripped over his own dancing feet. He crashed face first into the grass. Round 3, Shadow 3, Stickman still 0. Bruised and humbled, Stickman visited an old wise stick figure in the park. He explained his strange, ongoing battle with his own shadow. The elder chuckled softly, stroking an imaginary beard. He said, "You cannot defeat what simply mirrors you." Stickman frowned. "So I just lose forever?" The elder shook his head gently. "No, you simply stopped fighting." Stickman tilted his head, not fully understanding the advice yet. The elder pointed at his own shadow, calm and still beside him. He said, "Mine hasn't attacked me in decades. We made peace long ago." Stickman walked back outside, standing still in the afternoon sun. Instead of raising his fists, he simply lowered them completely. He looked down and said, "All right, let's just exist together." For a moment, the shadow simply mirrored his calm posture. Stickman smiled slightly. "Hey, this is actually working." Just as he relaxed completely, the shadow's fist shot upward. It caught Stickman completely off guard, right under the chin. He stumbled backward, more shocked than actually hurt. He shouted, "I thought we had peace! You said we had peace!" The shadow simply shrugged again, completely unbothered, as always. Frustrated, Stickman marched right back to the park bench. He explained the betrayal, arms flailing dramatically. The elder simply laughed. "Ah, yes, that happened to me too once." He explained, "Peace with your shadow isn't about winning, it's about laughing it off." Stickman sat down beside the elder, letting the frustration fade. He looked at his shadow stretched out on the ground beside him. For the first time, instead of anger, he simply chuckled. He said, "You really are a sneaky little guy, aren't you?" The shadow, for once, gave a small, friendly wave back. Stickman decided to try one more thing, playing instead of fighting. He made a silly shadow puppet shape with his hands. The shadow mimicked it perfectly, forming the exact same silly shape. Stickman burst out laughing, genuinely enjoying the moment. For the first time all day, he wasn't fighting his shadow at all. The The two of them spent the rest of the afternoon making shapes together, a bird shape, a rabbit shape, even a wobbly dinosaur shape. Passers-by stopped to watch, smiling at the strange but joyous sight. Stickman realized this was far more fun than any fight had ever been. As the sun began to set, his shadow started stretching longer. Stickman watched it grow, no longer feeling threatened by it. He said softly, "Thanks for today, even the punch to the chin." The shadow gave a small, respectful nod in return. Feeling triumphant about his newfound peace, Stickman turned to head home. He said proudly, "See, we don't need to fight anymore." Just then, his foot caught on his own overly long evening shadow. He tripped completely, falling flat on his back, exactly like the very first scene. The shadow stood over him once again, just like at the beginning, but this time, Stickman just started laughing from the ground. He said, Okay, you win. You'll always win, and that's fine now." The shadow reached down and offered a helping hand for the very first time. Stickman took it, and the shadow gently pulled him back up. They stood there together, side by side, as the sun finished setting. He looked down and smiled. "Same time tomorrow?" The shadow gave a small nod, already anticipating round 4. Because deep down, some competitions never really end. They just become a little friendlier along the way. That night, Stickman climbed into bed, still smiling about his day. He turned off the lamp, and his shadow finally disappeared into the dark. He whispered into the darkness, "Good night, you sneaky little troublemaker." The next morning, the sun rose bright and clear over the town. Stickman stepped outside, stretching happily in the morning light. His shadow appeared instantly on the pavement below him. Stickman looked down and grinned. "Ready for round 4? The shadow raised its fists immediately, fully ready to go. But this time, both of them were smiling as they squared up, because now it wasn't a real fight. It was just their little morning game. Stickman threw the first punch, already knowing what would happen. The shadow naturally punched back and knocked him down again. He lay there laughing. Yep, still undefeated, as always. This has been Stickman and his unbeatable shadow, a battle that started in anger and ended in laughter. Some fights, it turns out, were never meant to be won. They were only ever meant to teach you something along the way. And what Stickman learned was simple. You can't outrun yourself, but you can absolutely learn to laugh alongside it. So, if you ever catch your own shadow moving a little too fast, just remember, it's probably just looking for a friendly rematch. Thanks for following along on this ridiculous one-sided rivalry. There are plenty more silly battles waiting in Stickman's world. Until next time, stay light on your feet. Your shadow is always watching. This has been Stickman vs. Shadow, an undefeated rivalry. Score, if you're still counting, Shadow, countless, Stickman, 0. But somehow, that scoreboard doesn't matter to him anymore, because every single day, he gets to spend time with a piece of himself. Win or lose, that's a rivalry worth showing up for. Keep an eye on your own shadow today. You never know. It might just be looking for a rematch of its own. See you in the next story. Until then, watch your step. And maybe don't trip over yourself on the way out.